Many salutations to viewers and coins of the vault alike. I am Tatsumori, the self-proclaimed keeper of Maple Story lore. There are many who do it, but I am the only one who does it like me. Tonight, usually I would do something with Minecraft while reading some short stories, but I have had the last week off due to rain, and I am kind of gamed out. So I am going to be just doing some editing on writing and stuff on a previous chapter from a story, so that way I can get it up on Inkit and Wattpad. But yes, that is what we're going to be doing tonight. And for those of you, the Twitch audience, Mama Rednax is on a 7-stream streak. Nice! Woohoo! And also, for those of you who have come in, it is a brand new year. Happy New Year to you all. Do the thing? Oh, I guess it's not going to do the thing. Oh, well. I thought it was going to have a little animation to it or not, but I guess not. So, oh well. Yeah. Happy New Year to everybody. And I hope you're at least mildly entertained by what you see here from here on out. Now, while I'm doing the editing, we are also going to be having reading some submissions by you, the viewer, or Coins of the Vault, if you so desire. And for that, let me see. Let me go out in the yard over here, and I believe I have... No, I don't. Okay, so let me get into the writing office. There we go. There are the rules. For those of you who are on YouTube, here are the rules for the short story submission, and for the Twitch, or for my Twitch audience, they're right above me up here. So, if you would like to have a short story you have read, or you have read live on stream, just follow those rules up above. And if you would like to have me read it, use the command that's up there. It should be ! Read my thing. And it will put a little message in the chat. Either one. It works on YouTube and it works on Twitch. And it will let me know, hey, you have a story that you want me to read. So, yeah, that's what you can do there. And again, like I said, it works on both the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat. So you can pick either one. Doesn't matter. But yes, while we're waiting for the submissions, I will be working on this story over here in the black paper. And, yeah. And, okay, so for those of you who would like to listen to music along, I'm going to be listening to some music on my own. Whoops. Let's see. Let me pull this out. Okay. So, I'm going to be listening to some music, but unfortunately, it's because it's on YouTube, I'm probably going to get dinged if I were to listen to it live with you guys. So what I'm going to do, as soon as I can bring it up, I am going to be listening to a playlist of mine that I have created. It has all kinds of music to it. And for those of you on Twitch, this is the link to said playlist. And then, give me a second here. For those of you on YouTube, I will get said link. No, we don't want to have problems already. Alright, so it should be... Here we go. This is the playlist that I will be listening to. If you would like to listen along with me, I am going to be listening to the video titled Serene, 2 hours beautiful ethereal, let's see. Ethereal Ambient Orchestral Music Epic Music Mix by Pandora Journey. That's the video I'm going to be listening to, but you can listen to any of the videos that are in there for your own writing purposes and whatnot. However, I will pause whatever you want. But for those of you on Twitch, we are going to have a short ad break because, Twitch needs to take its pound of flesh. So, we shall go do that right now, and I'll go get myself a bottle of water so I don't dry out my throat, and then we shall go on from there. So, don't go anywhere. We shall be right back after these massages. Alrighty, so let's get into the writing office over here and do some stuff. Now, like I said before, I'm going to be editing this over here while we're waiting for submissions of the writing prompt that's above. If you'd like to have it read live on stream, just make sure you follow those rules and the prompt, and then use the command, that's the exclamation point command, in the rules up there. It should work on both Twitch and YouTube. You can follow either. You can use either one. Let me make it a little bigger on the YouTube side. There we go. And yeah. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. So while we're waiting, I shall be listening to some tunes. Again, if you want to listen along with me, you can use the playlist that's in both chats there. I'm going to pin them in both chats, so that way you guys can listen along with me if you want to listen. Again, in this particular playlist, I am listening to the video Serene 2 Hours Beautiful Ethereal Orchestral Music Epic Music Mix by Pandora Journey. I would listen to it on stream, except that I'd probably get dinged for it, and that's the last thing I want to get dinged for. So, let us do some writing. And again, this is all just waiting for submissions. You guys can submit your stuff, or submit your short story anytime to be read. It may take me a minute to see it because, I have two chats to work with, and I'm writing a story at the same time, so it may take me a second to see it. But yeah, we shall do stuff. So, and in this particular story that I'm working with, this is off of a MapleStory fanfiction that I have been working on since about 2010. Pans! Long time no see. How you doing, bud? This particular one that I'm working with is in the second book, Guardians, which I have been slowly uploading to Inkit and Wattpad, and also updating on fanfiction.net and AO3. Doing well, trying to stop procrastinating work as always. You? Well, I've been, due to rain, I have actually been off work for the past probably almost a full week now, just because of rain and weather. So, been just hanging out and doing some writing, doing some drawing. Mama Rednecks will attest to that. And, yeah. Speaking of which, one of the drawings I did manage to finish, for those of you on the YouTube side of things, if you go over to my community page, you'll see the Happy Holidays picture that I meant to actually get done before Christmas, but I wasn't able to get it done in time. So I did get it out like a couple days after Christmas, but I did get it done before New Year's. So, Happy Holidays and all that. Okay. Oh, and the cool thing, thanks to you wonderful shiny coins of the vault, we have passed 310 coins in the vault. Oh, over on YouTube, by the way. And let's see if we can make a steady march on YouTube over here. Let's see if we can make a steady march towards 400. And let's see if we can make a steady march to 200 followers on Twitch. We're about 43 away on the Twitch side of things. And we're still about 90 away on the YouTube side of things. But we have an entire year to get there. So let's see what we can do. In the meantime, let us write. Oh, meant to ask, Pans, has your writing adventures been coming along at all? I kind of forget if you've been working on one or not. At least right off the top of my head. The preceding week passed like a hurricane. Each of the 5... There. Minerva sealed him all those centuries ago. The 5 gained strength and power far more quickly than they thought possible. They blazed through the floors with ease, through the lower floors with ease, using techniques and styles shown to them by Sogong. They have been doing well. Me and my co-writer got some more chapters out on AO3. I'm working on that Miraculous and Legend of Zelda crossover fusion I talked about last time I was here. Okay. All right. Sorry, I don't remember that right off the top of my head. Been all over the place and stuff like that. So apologies, I don't remember it exactly. But yeah, that's good to hear that you've been plugging along on your story. How many words are you up to? Just out of curiosity. The lower flows with ease, using techniques and styles shown in Sogong. With their final effort, they defeated the mana creation of Papulatus and entered Mugong's room atop the Tower of Training. Helen requested to lead this final assault, directing all her frustration at the enemies and obliterating the first few without effort. Total published about 41,000, not counting our unedited chapters right now. Nice! Let's see. Let me look up a thing really quick. Okay. Okay, so you're like somewhere in the kind of the gray area, at least kind of like a general area between a novella and a full-on novel. All right. Nice. Very nice. One of 5. In no way this is going to turn out a novella. Okay, so like the whole overarching story, I guess, is going to be in solidly in novel territory, if not epic territory, right? So I believe there is once you go past like 150,000 words or something like that, it crosses over into like the either saga or epic, one of those two. I'm not exactly sure which one it is, or which if one comes before the other. But it's like 100,000 plus where it becomes like this other category, and it's just absolutely just a chunk of a story. Sure, it took like a year of basic planning, so I wouldn't put it past us to break into the next thing. Nice! Very, very nice. Alrighty. So, let's do let me do a thing here. All right. Let's get a shout out for Attracted to Pans and their story as it is marching toward novel, if not epic territory. Oh, 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 oh. I get Google Drive notifications every week because it yells at me for the amount of Google Docs we got. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you like if that's the case, then you got me beat because I don't have that many. All right. Let's see. Let's Okay, here we go. That sounds a little better. They all, upon reaching the upper levels, they all used techniques and styles shown to them by Sogong. After nearly an hour, they defeated the mana creation of Papulatus. They defeated the final mana creation of Papulatus and entered Mugong's room atop the Tower of Training. Now, at the tower's highest level, Helen was exhausted, having spent all her energy trying to push past her limit with no result. You all right? Jack asked. Jack. No, I'm just going to leave it. Just beware, I am not saying what you think I'm saying. I'm saying Jack asked. Holding out his hand to her as she knelt on the floor, heaving for breath. I'm fine, she snapped, dragging herself from the floor and squaring her shoulders. Why have you been pushing yourself so hard? You're just going to wear yourself out, he asked. Helen stopped and was about to answer before shaking her head and continuing on to the final room. Oh, no, okay. There we go. Stood before. They haven't entered the room yet. And approaching the doors. Okay, there we go. Jack looked to Olsen, who shook his head and shrugged. Jack shrugged in return. And followed Helen to the doors. Pushing... And followed Helen. Oops. Pushing open the heavy wooden door with Matthew. Mugong sat on the far end of the room. The far end of a tatami mat room. Tatami floor room. No, it's not. I don't think that's... I'm messing with... So I am messing something up. Oh, okay. Okay, I messed it up. No, not messed it up, but into Tommy room, sitting comfortably on a cushion, holding a small cup of steaming tea. You have done well to reach this floor, he said. You have done well to reach this floor, he said smoothly, setting down his cup on a low table beside him and standing silently. And now comes your final test. Defeat me, and you will surely be able to defeat my shadow, Mugong enticed. All of them slowly surrounded him with their weapons and spells at the ready. Mugong closed his eyes, his bushy eyebrows covering his lids, listening to each of them as they moved and breathed, their hearts hammering against their ribs in the utter silence of the room. Matthew forced out his breath, igniting the blade of the lion's fang with violet light. A thread of lightning struck his feet, and a small whirlwind encircled him. Olsen flicked his wrist, bringing shuriken into his hands, surrounded by a hot pink flame. No. Let's see. It's all good. Just keep on hanging out and coming through and earning those scales, and you'll be able to shed them for an awesome, awesome thing. Okay, that's actually something I'm going to use. Sarai's Flame. Let me see. Cerise. Okay. Not Sarai, Cerise. Okay. I know how to spell, and I know how to pronounce. Jenny drew her bow as the arrow as it and the arrow as emerald haze enveloped it. Soon you will meet our tiny cheese gremlin. It will just take time. Cheese gremlin? Oof. It and the arrow compressing a bit of power at the tip. Jack tightened the clasp of his knucklers before holding his fists at the ready. A red flame-like glow surrounded them, swaying with his movements. Helen shut her eyes, calming her mind and concentrating on the task at hand. Mana and crystal power gathered in her hands, creating a plasma bolt, hissing as it sat in her palm. Matthew inched his foot closer, maneuvering his sword into position. Mugong looked his way when he heard his foot sliding on the floor. In a muffled bang, Helen teleported behind Mugong, throwing the purple flaming bolt right where the master would have been. Mugong appeared beside her, ready to strike. Until he had to jump back, avoiding Olsen's shuriken. Helen's staff blazed as she released her double claw. Double claw spell at the aging panda. Mugong twisted his body, barely dodging. Dodge! All right, yes, Piccolo. We all know we're trying to learn how to dodge. Was barely dodging the spell when Jack appeared behind him, throwing his fist. Mugong batted his fist into the floorboards, stepping back each time Jack swung at him or batting his fist aside. Jack snarled, hurling a howling fist at the old master, making Mugong jump into the air. Jenny released a multitude of arrows as fast as she could, each deflected by a well-aimed... Each deflected by Mugong's well-angled palms. There we go. When he landed, Matthew swung hard, unleashing the solar scythe he had prepared, and lunged after the blade of light. Suronova! 5-stream streak! Let's go! How you doing, man? How's stuff going on your side? Mugong faced the scythe. Holding up both hands to block the attack with his mana-covered paws. When he felt a stabbing pain in his leg. Doing good. Doing some writing on species lore, and then afterwards I have plans to work on designs. Nice! And these are all species for your world that you've been working on, Suo? Ooh, okay. Well, if you have that many, what are your top 2 that you like, that you are either especially proud of or that you really, really like? shooting pain suddenly stabbed his leg. Orbs of energy appear to him. Sweeties and Neemies. Okay. Because they are food species. Okay. So just based on that alone, suddenly I'm a sucker for food. So suddenly I'm getting like a Candyland or a like an Alice in Wonderland vibe off of that. Ha ha ha. Nice. Nice. Oof. I think I gotta wash. I have a couple combs and I keep in my room sometimes. Just to, like, you know, as the day ends, like, you ever have sometimes where you're like sitting down and like your head just like suddenly really, really itches? Well, I have a couple combs in here that I keep next to my desk, so I can use that to like comb out my hair, but at the same time kind of like scratch my head. It actually feels kind of good. I have a couple of them that have some bigger teeth, so they'll go through the hair and just like get right down to the scalp, so you can kind of like scratch your scalp and, you know, not go like full on, you know, like trying to scratch my skin off, but it helps. The Sweeties are actually ice cream species, and the Neemies are white cream type species where you can add flavor with them. And yes, or when you get up and your head suddenly gets yes. Okay, so if the Sweeties, itchy or dizzy, if you said the Sweeties are an ice cream species, does that mean they're kind of like something that would exist, say, in like the Arctic or maybe the tundra kind of deal? And then the white creams, maybe they exist in like a cooler climate, maybe not quite like Arctic, but like, say, for lack of better terms, maybe something like northern parts of Greenland, kind of deal, or places that are usually cooler. To his knee as the scythe flew over him. Actually have them all live in a pretty cool environment that is close to reindeer, since they are pretty much close to each other. I can show you. Yeah, sure. Would you like? Can I show it on stream, or do you want to just show it to me? Just me. For stuff. Okay. All right. Yeah, send it over, and we'll see what we can do. All right. So let me go out in the yard first, just to, you know, just to make sure that, you know, last thing we need is suddenly, oh no. Yeah, you know. Okay. All right. I see. So let me go back to the writing office over here. All right. So okay. So hold on. Give me a second here. Let me kind of resize this for Twitch. Give me a second here, guys. I am working on it so you guys can see. Now, this is the map that was created by Suonova for their world. Okay, and then the YouTube side of things. There we go. All right. So the whoops. Ah. So I take it this area here is oops. Hold on. The YouTube side of things is still kind of cut off. There we go. So this area right here is where the Sweetings live. Oops. There we go. Itchy ear. And then so then let's see, what were the other ones? The Sweeties, the Neemies. The Neemies, just based on what I see here, would either live like somewhere down here or maybe somewhere like in this area. Where it's like cooler, but it's not exactly cold. Okay, so the Neemies are in this area then. And then these are the Sweeties. Yeah, because they're both cold-themed species and they go to another area. They can melt or it gets way too hot. Okay. All right, just by the kind of the look of the map right here, I would imagine this is where you would find both species in both areas. However, you'd mostly find maybe Neemies in this area. Again, I don't know what you have done already, but just based on what I see, you probably find Neemies maybe in like this portion of this continent here, mostly. And then you'd find as you go further and further north, you'd find more and more Sweeties, and maybe even like up here in this part of this area here is where you'd find almost exclusively Sweeties. That's just kind of basic, like the basic thing that I can imagine off the top of my head. I don't know if I'm anywhere near what you have created, but that's kind of what comes to mind there. And so, okay. And so in this area over here, I guess YouTube can't see it. Give me a second here. I need to readjust this again. So YouTube can see it. Okay, there we go. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'm getting it all sized right, so try to get the entire map in there as best I can. I may not succeed 100%, but kind of work with it. So, lions, bats, and spiders and changelings. Okay, so kind of up here, just off the top of my head, this area right here might be a cooler section of desert. It's like, because this is where you're like the bottom of your snow, like based on how everything works. This is kind of like the bottom of your snow line here. So that would be like right skimming the top of this whole oasis area. So all of this might get like frosty, if not like start to get some snow covered areas and stuff. Oh, okay. All right. Again, this is just stuff I'm seeing on off the top of my head. And this is also based on how I understand our planet to be like. And then going down this way, probably somewhere right around here is where you start to get cold again in the other direction. Am I right? Okay. All right. So is the whole planet like with food stuff, or is like just this area over here is with all the food creatures? The snowy lands are just with the food creatures. Okay. I would actually kind of imagine, like, just again, this is completely off the top of my head. Don't let me say that I'm trying to influence you one way or another. But I imagine maybe somewhere here near the middle where it gets the hottest, maybe have some creatures kind of like that. Let's see. I was going to say they're like pixie sticks, but that wouldn't really work. Like some spicy, which are in the hotlands, while those are more sour. Okay. All right. I was going to say you could have some like pixie stick kind of creatures, but then I don't know how well you have ice cream creatures, so of course you got some kind of magic going on. Already do. Okay. All right. And so then I would imagine somewhere right at like this is kind of like a whole hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in here. This whole section right here is kind of like a giant oasis kind of deal. That's why I have so many. Oh, they're actually different flavors, and yes, it has its own. Say with a big tree. Okay. Again, this is just my own imagination, but I can imagine some of the creatures that are around in this area. They're like jelly donut birds. Oh boy. Well, cool. Got yourself a whole little world going on here. Lots of stuff. Like, let me get them harpies. All right. Well, very cool. Very cool. Okay, let me see if I can get this all put back together the way I wanted it. There we go. Alrighty. Very nice. Very cool, Suo. Very cool, Suo. Now drop to his knee. Okay. Yeah, sure, a little bit. Sure, though, a little bit of like recommendation because those don't help. You're all good. You're all good. Yeah. I mean, I do have kind of a world map for that I created for Sacred Tears. I haven't fully fleshed it out just because the kind of world building that I was going to do with it, a lot of the places we never ever really visited in the story. They make mentions of it, but I never really visited them, so I didn't really do like a full world build. Let me see if I can find it. Oh no, it's probably not here. Is it here? Ah, here we go. I think this is it. Okay, so let me see. Go back to the writing office over here. Yeah, I can see that. I actually did that for a D&D campaign that I'm a DM of. Like the world that I created, I just looked up like, different continent shapes and then just like copied the shapes over and kind of merged them here and there and created this gigantic world. At least I thought it was pretty gigantic. Okay, let me see. Here we go. There we are. Let me shrink this down for chat to see. Oh, hold on. I think that's the whole thing. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now I need to do the Twitch side of things. There we go. All right. So there we go. This is the world of Eusoria from MapleStory, the novel Sacred Tears. The places that we visited, at least in the story initially, we visited Victorani province. We visited the Nihal Desert. We visited Kritas. We passed through the East Dragon Forest, and then a lot of our story happens in the Forest of Peace. We also kind of made a visit to Pantheon over here. And we also did a slight bit of visit in Halcyon, which is like the capital. I don't have a ton of detail worked out on this where different places, different maps and stuff are. But right here, let me see if I can zoom in. I don't have it on this map, but right here, it's actually a pretty big like viaduct bridge that goes between the continent of Eusoria and the continent of Pantheon. And we have the legend here for distance. So I think if I measured it correctly, I think it's like a 10-mile bridge, like vast stone bridge that goes right through here, connecting the two. And then we have I think earlier in the story we made mention of the Adil States. We didn't. I don't think we ever made mention of Tyrannos. It exists in the story for now. And same with Volrine. We did make mention of Rhaegon from part of the story, but the main, and we never visited the Leviathan Crags. So, but yeah, for those of you who have read through Maple Story, the novel Sacred Tears, this is the world map, so to speak. I might add more as we go along, just because, you know, the world of Euphoria, the planet of Euphoria is pretty big. But yeah, this is the world from Sacred Tears. So yeah, I hope that was maybe give you some inspiration, or maybe answer some questions for those of you who have read the story. Okay, so now I need to put everything back. All right. So now, exit this. Bring this back up. There we go. I always love looking at maps. I have so much fun drawing mine. Well, I mean, I've actually always had trouble with the maps on my side of things, just because it's not fun for me, I guess. Like, if that's kind of the words I'm looking for. It is for me, because most Maple Story logic I have is the story mostly from the old game when I used to play my brother. It brings up good memories. Ah, yes. The old Maple Story map. Let me see if I can find that really quick. Let's see. I believe... Oops. Nope. Didn't want to do that. Okay, I believe this is the old... Oops. Hold on. Come on. This is the old world map. Let me see. Oops. Okay, let me resize this. Oops, nope, wrong button. There we go. All right, so this is the old Maple Story world map from, I believe, before the... I just basically draw mine and never think about what I will need in the world until I draw my lessons, like 20 drawings. Okay. So this was the very basic world map from a long time ago. I believe when I started playing, the Temple of Time already existed in this lower, let's see. It's behind my head on YouTube, but it's like right here in front of me. The lower left corner of the map over here. I believe the Temple of Time had already existed at that time. Maple Island was there. Victoria Island is there. And, okay, so let me see if I can find a modern map. Because it has changed so much. At least the Maple world map has changed a ton. Ah, here we go. Oops, nope, that's not what I wanted. There we go. All right. So yeah, this is the modern Maple World map. And even then, I think there's a couple things missing because up in this corner over here, there is another continent that is there. That is for the Ren and the Mo Xuan classes. Oh, wow, you were like in the 1.0s. Wow. But yeah, this is kind of what it is now. From the old one, Nile Desert has been filled in. We also got Critias. And then from the old one, the Temple of Time now exists, which is, for those of you on YouTube, is behind my fat head. Let's see. We still had Elnath. We still had the Minar Forest. However, the other thing that's changed is we have Rien, which is where the hero Aran comes from. We have Zipangu, which I believe... All right, Pans, if you want to share it, feel free to do so. You can just share it right here in chat. However, you have if you have a link or something like that. Let's see. The tower under the ocean, Alice's Tower, is there now. We now have Irive, the island of the Empress, and we also have Edelstein, which was added. So there is one, like I said, there's one last continent that's not shown on this map, but it's over here, where I believe the Mo Xuan and the Ren classes come from. But yeah, that's pretty much the modern Maple World map. We still have Aqua Road. So yeah, that's pretty much still there. But of course now we also have the Temple of Time is its own map kind of deal. Like you can click on it and like zooms into that map. Then the Temple of Time has also a sub map in there, which is the Gate to the Future and the Gate to the Present, which goes to the Arcane River. And then we also have the Grandest maps. So the game is, if this were like, if we were to put this on the scale of, say, like a Dark Souls or like even like an Elden Ring, the world would be absolute. I would put it on par with Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, it would be absolutely massive. Like, Victoria Island alone, I'm pretty sure would cover probably half, if not more, of the current Elden Ring map. It like, just that alone. Then just added all together, it would be an absolutely gargantuan world. But can you imagine if it was that? Oh my, that would be awesome. I think that would be awesome. All right, so let's check out. Let's check out this thing over here. Okay, let me. All right. So I take it this is this like one continent of your whole world, or is it like this is kind of where like your whole world exists? Oh, and just as a warning for the Twitch audience, we do have an ad break coming up. If you do end up getting sent to the Adpocalypse, I will still be here and I'll wait for you guys to come back. You're in ad jail. So again, Pans, is this picture? It is a single continent of a larger world I made for fun. Okay, so I guess if we were to like zoom out, if we were to zoom out, there would be like other continents around it, so to speak, around it and to the left and right of it. All right. Oh yeah, if I like turn my head to the side, I can automatically see. I see Australia. Australia. All right. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna change this. There we go. Plebeian, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. Yep, I know we're in ad jail over here. Welcome to the stream. All right. The freedom! Freedom! All right. Let me see. I need to check something out on my side. Okay. All right. So yeah, I've just updated the the stream title over here, sharing worlds with with the Dragon Rider. So yeah, currently we are checking out one continent of Attracted to Pan's world. Let's see. I don't know who's back or who's not. If you're back from ad prison, sound off with a yeah. Or sound off. Wait. No. Don't say yeah. Sound off by retrieving your cup of hot cocoa. Okay. Doesn't appear anybody's back yet. All right. Plebeian. Yay! Has large mountain range going down from the top left corner around the patch of rivers and ends just before the next patch of rivers. I am back. Yay! All right. So for those here and back, retrieve your cup of hot cocoa. So yeah, how you doing, plebeian? How's your evening going? Initially, we were going to try to see if we can have some short stories read, but it's kind of turned into Share Your Worlds. If you have a map, I guess, but if not, if you're writing and you have a world you want to share, by all means, let it shine. All right. The top right portion is a fishing-based kingdom, and beneath the bay is a farming kingdom. They do not like each other. Still working on the fun lore bit for why. Farming and fishing. Well, let me ask you this, Pans. How old is this world, so to speak? Are we talking a world that spans millennia, like thousands of worlds, or thousands of worlds, thousands of years? Or say, is it something a little younger, where maybe just a few centuries have come? Good, I'm trying to start my book with some basic world explanation, but my skill is character building, my weakness is world building, and I have all the kingdoms and species, but I can't get it all together. I will admit, that was one thing that I struggle with too, plebeian. What helped me is, rather than trying to, I mean, you'll hear a bunch of people saying, don't info dump your world on people. But what I found kind of helps, at least it helped me, is just to reveal the details that you need to for whatever. If it's like if you're just you're following your main character, like I think it's called third person limited. If you're just doing that, maybe just explain or kind of put in mild detail of what that character sees when they go to different places, rather than doing like the whole Tolkien thing where you gotta you're talking about a human down in the south, but you're explaining the entire agricultural backstory to the dwarves up in the north. Just that's what helped me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only way to do it. Like if you go to some, like a trading village or something like that, it's like you notice how there are many different different traders that come through, and the different clothes styles and stuff like that, and of the particular city, maybe talk about the particular architecture as your character is running down the street. Yes, I also suffer from that too a lot. Documented history is about a few hundred, is roughly medieval things. That vague area of history most classic D&D games are minus the major bits of magic. Kings are thinking the king and queen got divorced and civil war broke out, and now they run two separate kingdoms. So they're still growing kingdoms, recovering from the civil war. Okay. All right. I mean, that... I was going to say, like, if the fishing and farming don't exactly, like each other, you kind of need to know why the average people don't like each other. Was there maybe you could still do the Civil War thing, but it was like for very complicated reasons, and people have since forgotten about that, and now it's just you fish, I farm, therefore I hate you. It's kind of deal. I don't go that heavy, but I like, especially with the scene areas and characters. Again, going back to plebeian over here, just to keep in mind though, I suffered from that a lot. And I still do. I struggle with it. Where you want the reader to see, quote unquote, see what you see. But if you do that, it tends to weigh a scene down way too much. So I guess you can try to think of just details that are relevant to the particular scene in mind, rather than going into full detail about the sconces that are in the corner of the king's bedroom or something like that. Right. I get you. All right, cool. My two OCs are just beef because they don't like each other from just pure will alone and different culture differences. So I would just sort of offhand mention sconces. Okay. And like the other thing you could do to try to help flesh it out is like flesh out the world. At least this is what helped me. What I did is I made mention of stuff that has happened in the rest of the world as a result of like the main conflict that happened in the as a result of like the main conflict in this thing. Lamperdoodle! Welcome. Thank you for the lurk, and I hope you find all the good treasures down below. Oh, I have a question. Can I put a link in this chat? I made a visual for my main character. I'm really proud of it. I want to show it off. I will be okay. But should be okay. Yeah, go for it. All right, let's get out in the yard first. Orbs of energy. Okay. All right. Let's check this out. Oh, Hero Forge. Nice. All right, let's see. Let's get back into the writing office for this. Nice. Rokan. Or is it Rokan? Kind of like just like all said very quickly, or is it Rokan? Rokan, okay. Rokan, okay. All right. Nice. All right. Very nice. All right. But like I was saying, what helped me in my world building is just rather than really kind of info dump for like the world at any given time, I just kind of mixed it in with the story and make mention of different things that are happening in the world that may affect the overall storyline, and two may be a result of the overall storyline. That is what's helped me. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the way to do it. It's just stuff that I have done. Just need a basic world intro for the beginning prologue of my book. I know how to do individual scenes. Okay. So, kind of... What kind of story are you writing, first of all? Obviously, it's probably fantasy, I can probably safely assume. And by the way, for anybody else who is a writer out there who disagrees with whatever say, by all means, disagree into oblivion. I do not consider myself an authority on writing it whatsoever. I'm a dude trying to get better and sharing stuff that has helped me. Fantasy third person. Okay. is it like what's kind of the overall story of it? Is it a like a hero's journey? Is it a is it a war story? Is it a adventure story? Is there anything that had inspired you? That you use inspiration a lot? It's like recommendation because some of it actually kind of helps me when I push. All right, thanks, Zool. Because what I did on my story, the one I'm working on right now, I would not recommend it. But what I did is essentially I started my story at the end of the first book. It's essentially where I started it. The first 4 chapters of my first book that I did, Sacred Tears, has excerpts, like the latter half of one of the final chapters in the book. So it kind of gave me a direction of where I'm going, but at the same time, it also kind of locked me into something that, okay, now I've got to get there. I've got to do this. It was basically down to the final battle. But depending on what kind of adventure or what kind of story you're wanting to write, hold on. I need to... Here it is. Would kind of determine what kind of scene you want to start with. Again, is it a hero's journey? Is it an adventure? Is it a mystery? Is it a, for lack of better terms, isekai inspired? Is it a is it inspired, kind of like borrowing from Tolkien, I guess you could say, or maybe J.R. Martin. J.R. Martin. Does it borrow from any other popular writers out there? I mean, I know of these people, but I will say right now, I am a terrible writer because I do not read a lot of books. But yeah. I'm trying to figure out lineage and stuff, and partly dealing with everybody else's problems along the way, and dealing with general problematic stuff. It makes sense to read books, so I just read fan fiction. Okay. So, I guess, have you figured out what your main conflict of the entire story is going to be? Zombies, in a sense, or zombie-like creatures. Okay, so... So just off the top of my head, it kind of sounds like maybe you've got yourself something to do with maybe a necromancer problem of some kind? being that it is a fantasy world, so maybe you've got like a necromancer problem of some kind, where you have somebody who is disrupting the natural flow of life, or who's trying to raise their own army so they can conquer a specific place or something like that. And is your protagonist going to be the one of or the hero of this whole thing? I know I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm just helping to throw mud at the wall and see what sticks. It's an infection type thing that showed up out of nowhere, spread way too fast, and my main character is the champion of the kingdom that got roped in. Okay. So it sounds like more you're leaning towards what's known as like a science fantasy. Or a science fantasy. Think Star Wars kind of deal, where there is some science to it, but there's a little bit more magic to it, so to speak. A little less Star Trek, a little more Star Wars. Don't worry about the last question thing. I'm just saying, is like I think I just said, I know I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm just helping you throw stuff at the. Just a fungal infection? Okay. Well, here's the thing. If you can at least my point of view, let's put it this way. Magic Racer Mushroom. Okay. There you go. So it's kind of like are you kind of taking it sounds like you're taking inspiration from like Stranger Things kind of deal, where like I think that's where it's from. Basically the zombie mushrooms, or maybe even from like the zombie fungus that takes over ants. I don't know who's watched what. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Maybe that's it. I haven't watched Stranger Things myself either, so I am a little kind of in the dark on that. But based off The Last of Us partially. Okay. Yeah, it could be Last of Us that I'm thinking of, not Stranger Things. Because I haven't seen either one, so I'm a little a little lost. But yeah. Okay. All right. So would this infection be just something by the fact that these magic mushroom people exist? Or are they using their ability or their whatever this, if it's a biological ability or a new spell that they've created or something like that, are they using it to try and do something dubious in the world with it? Hold on. Let me grab a thing. Oh, come here, you. Ah, there you are. They're trying to come up from the lower world. In order to reckon by... Well, I get what you mean there. Infect the dead upon the main world and take over the zombies are essentially just to soften the kingdoms before they come in, which would mean plot the actual mushroom people coming up. Only where my characters coming down to them haven't decided. Okay. Well, for book 1, you could kind of do it, at least this is just something that's happening. Sorry about that. This is just something that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. You could have it like the main overarch of book 1. You could have this main overarching thing where there is this mysterious foe that is slowly encroaching onto your lands. And you're trying to figure out, or the kingdoms are trying to figure out who they are and where they're coming from and what exactly they're dealing with. And you could, like an opening scene that could work is you have maybe a soldier from one of these kingdoms is running away. He's just like desperately running away. And then he's trying to hide from one of these mushroom zombie creatures. And he's like, okay, I need to get this, he has a report from maybe his general or something like that. And his platoon stayed behind to give him a chance to get away because these things are just overwhelming them. And he's running, but one of the creatures is coming after him and he's trying to lose this creature. And so he manages to kind of like lose it for a minute. And he's like, okay, I've got to get this message back to the kingdom. And before he has a chance, like he turns around, goes to move again, and there's this mushroom zombie thing, and it attacks him and kills him right there. So that could be like your opening scene. But don't make any mention or don't describe the creature at all or what he's running from. There's just this thing or this stuff that he has to run away from. No description, kind of like a prologue, yeah. And then when you go into like kind of opening up the story a little more, following your protagonist, another thing I'll ask, is your protagonist kind of like the teen hero chosen one kind of deal, or is your protagonist, say, like a retired veteran? No, she's just a warrior champion of the lizard folk kingdom. She's about a mid-20s probably. Okay. So, Rokkan. Okay. So, just to kind of make a comparison, she is currently kind of like in between jobs, I guess you could say, at the moment. Loved by the people. Everybody adores her. Everything is awesome. She kind of rolls around and that kind of deal. Her bloodline has protected the lizard folk royalty for generations. There's also everything's cool when you're part of a team. Okay. So one family serving another. Okay. So what if the lizard folk get a, not necessarily a summons, but a request from, say, some of the kingdoms that are bearing the brunt of trying to face off against this mushroom zombie horde, and they are now sending out requests to the other kingdoms asking for aid, for sending their most powerful warriors, sending their champions, sending just any kind of aid they can, so they can try and bolster their forces to push back or hold back or push back this zombie mushroom force that is doing, and thus will lead your character. Doesn't necessarily hit, because at least from what it sounds like, your character's family is responsible for protecting the lizard folk royalty. So it doesn't necessarily have to be her. However, you could say that she specifically is maybe responsible for, say, the queen or the princess or queen, like one of the royal family members, like a personal bodyguard kind of deal. So then I say, well, the elves are trying to get the lizard folks involved. Yeah, that's the idea, but also our kingdom literally is in a bad situation with everyone except the dwarves, who are right next to them and also haven't been involved yet. Okay. So are the lizard folk, are you kind of going with like the D&D version of the lizard folk, where they kind of see themselves as I believe it's D&D, kind of see themselves as descended from dragons, and they are very proud of that, kind of thinking themselves superior to other races, and thus leading to bumping heads with everybody? Or is it just because the lizard folk are seen as a lower life form, and thus everybody just hates on them? Because that's the two big ones that I have seen. That doesn't necessarily mean that has to be the reason. Those are the two big factors that I've seen when other races usually bump heads with lizard folk. New country girl, welcome, welcome. How are you doing tonight? We are currently sharing our worlds and helping each other get better at writing. Let me rephrase. Not bodyguard, more like champion. They're most powerful. The second one. Everyone hates them except for the dwarves, who, as I mentioned, are chill with. Struggling with a chapter title. Okay. Okay, so rather than plebeian, rather than royalty, they're more so like the lizard folk guardians, so to speak, like the guardian of lizard folk. Like their particular family is the one who has been responsible for protecting all of lizard folk kind, I guess. And new country, what kind of story are you working with, and what chapter are you currently working on that you are struggling with a chapter title? And for those of you on YouTube who are wondering where all these chats are coming from, this is all happening on Twitch right now. Feel free to put in the chat over on YouTube. I will see it for any of your questions or comments or anything like that. Do you wish to join in the conversation? Fantasy Western. Okay. Lizard folk are very strict with the heirs will take up the job of the previous. Okay. So, okay. All right. So the lizard folk kind of have like a rigid caste system kind of deal. I mean, maybe not exact, but it's just something kind of to base it on. Okay, so fantasy western, New Country. Middle Earth meets Gunsmoke. Oh, that's cool. I cast a belly full of lead. Got a wizard gunslinger. Okay. So yeah, but females are preferred over male heirs, though obviously there's not a choice. Right. Okay. So it could be like your main conflict, I guess you could say, is that whoever the main kingdom is bearing the brunt of trying to hold back, if not push back, the zombie mushrooms, they are just requesting aid from everybody, even the people that they have conflicts or beef with. Like they're trying to bring up that, yes, I know we have beef. We will get to that, but please set it aside for now because there is a bigger threat. And maybe that could be, you're kind of like fighting the conflict on both ends, where you're saying, I need to want to be able to help this. And maybe some kingdoms are even trying to appeal to the lizard folk by saying, look, we need your champions to help in this war, because if you don't, you won't be able to protect the lizard folk. Or your duty in protecting the lizard folk will fall through the cracks if you don't help us out. Or by helping us out, you will protect the lizard folk. Kind of appeal to their pride, so to speak, in that spot. So New Country, the particular chapter you're working on, what's the basic rundown of what happens in there? Maybe I can help you throw some mud at the wall and see what sticks. Not to mention lizard folk these suck it up, cope, punch harder. So yeah, they have a lot of folk. Chapter setting essentially the town fantasy Christmas ball, and it's a POV shift to the second most important character in there. The dinner before dancing and first introduction to said character's future wife. Okay. Well, if it's a Christmas setting and it's a fantasy western, how about, just off the top of my head, Sawdust Under the Mistletoe? Let me put it in chat for you here. Make sure I spelled it all right. Whoops. Nope, don't want to do that. Don't want to do that either. Yeah, I did. Okay. I hate when it does this. Attention torn between grieving traumatized sister and girl he's falling in love with. Okay. Who he hasn't told her he's a werewolf yet. Oh! Okay. Yeah. Just, again, like I said, this is the title that comes up just off the top of my head. Because most westerns that I've heard, or at least most country songs that I've heard of, when they talk about a dance floor, they usually they put sawdust on the floor to help with maneuverability of boots and stuff like that. Unless this is supposed to be like a dance, like a fancy dance floor, or like a ballroom dance. Well, I guess a Christmas ball, yeah. Well, I guess maybe not sawdust under the mistletoe. You could do more ballroom gems. Yeah, I was just now thinking of that. What about moonlit rendezvous? How about that? Or mistletoe rendezvous? Maybe. Again, this is just ideas off the top of my head. Meetings in moonlight. There you go. There you go. Or what about meetings of moonlight? So, anyways, plebeian, like I was saying, you could do something like that to where you're trying to repair. Oh, okay, I see the BRB. I see the BRB. All right. Oh, oh, we got it. We got it. Meeting in moonbeams. Oh, I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Let's go. Let's get some dragon hearts in the chat for you. You got your chapter title. Let's go. And now, Neon Moon by Brooks and Dunn is going to be my head on that. Oh, wow. If you lose your one and only, there's always room here for the lonely to watch your broken dreams dancing in and out of the beams of a neon moon. Yeah. No telling how many times I've sat here and cried, or how many lies that I've lied, telling my poor heart she'll be back someday. Oh. Now I just hope I don't get dinged. Encore. The only problem is I don't remember all the words. Oh, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. They were a good duo. Yeah, they were, but I think some of those duo bands, or even the groups, sometimes I think tappity taps for the singing. I think some of those groups and some of the duos, sometimes it's usually, if they're going to end up breaking up, it's usually a good idea. Oh! Welcome, new country girl, to the vault. You are the new shiny coin, and I hope you're at least mildly entertained by what you see from here on out. Alrighty. Yep. Okay, yeah, it's doing the thing. Just wanted to make sure that the Masagi over there is updated for who was the new shiny coin. I'm a little more than 200 words away from 80,000 total. Nice! Let's get a little personal shout out for New Country Girl, almost being at 80,000 words in her book. Be sure and check it out. And where exactly are you publishing it somewhere? Like putting it up on the internet somewhere? Is it available for people to read? Or are you just kind of working on it and you are eventually going to actually publish this someday? All right, you guys. Well, as awesome as this all has been, I've got to call it here for tonight. One, because my throat has just about had it. And two, I am getting sleepy because I have a thing I got to do tomorrow. So I hope you all were at least mildly entertained by what you saw and heard tonight. Also, big ol' warm welcome to New Country Girl 17, the new shiny coin of the vault. And I hope to see you from here on out. Now, if you want to be sure and catch me when I go live again, I will be going live on Sunday, this coming Sunday, where I will be doing... Let's see, what was it again? I believe It was, oh, that's right. It was the Dual Blade storyline in MapleStory. Now, this is a variant of the Explorer Thief in MapleStory, but it does have its own additional storyline to it, where it differs slightly from the overall Explorer's class. So it's like Explorer Plus, so to speak. Just kind of like the Pathfinder. On beyond that, we'll be doing part 2 of that storyline, and then that'll be happening at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then on Wednesday, starting at around 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to actually see if I can work on some more of the MapleStory, the novel Legends of Osiria, which is book 4 in the series that I've been working on. Work on that chapter and get some more on stuff. And see how much writing we get done there. This one will be exclusively on Twitch, just because, there's some extra stuff I can do on Twitch that I can't really do on YouTube. So that's where that is going to be. And then on Friday, we shall be back with more of the prompt. Now, since we didn't have any submissions for the prompt, here are the rules and the prompt for the little short story submissions. If you want to check it out, the prompt for this week is: together we can overcome anything except what you did. So, and as long as you keep those rules in mind, those rules for Twitch and those rules for YouTube, as long as you keep all those rules in mind, you can submit your story and we'll have it read live on stream. And if we don't have any submissions next week, we'll continue on with this prompt until we get at least 1 or 2 submissions, and then we'll go on to the next prompt. That will be starting, depending on if I'm able to get together with my friend PokePens. It'll be either starting at 6 or 7 o'clock, so you can be sure and check that out. Be on the lookout on my YouTube channel community page, where I will let you guys know exactly kind of what's happening, if I remember. I try to remember. And then we shall go from there. But for now, this is good night, goodbye, and may Falkor visit you in your dreams. Thank you to everyone for coming to this stream. I hope you were at least mildly entertained by what you saw here, and I hope to see you again next time. If you want to make sure that you never ever miss a stream, be sure and hit that follow button so that you can be notified when I go live. If you'd like to see more from me, be sure and check out my YouTube channel, where you can catch the audiobooks of MapleStory the novel Sacred Tears, Sly Cooper Rise of Vexen, or Arcane. Each one of these stories is fully voice acted with sound effects and background music, and you can sit down and watch them or listen to them anywhere you please. And if you do watch them, be sure and leave a comment telling the voice actors just how awesome they did, because without them, it would just be another story. I hope to see you next time, so until then, my friends.